What? Well, reason number one why you would even consider this camera. This is the cheapest full-frame sensor with in-body image stabilization, also known as IBIS, that you could buy. Second, it shoots great stills. The raw files coming off this guy are awesome. So my reasoning behind buying this camera as a replacement for my G80 was that this camera shoots much better stills and the video quality would be okay. I thought 1080p is still enough today, in my opinion. I don't really need the 4K of the G80. It's nice to have, but I don't need it. The 1080p in 60 FPS on this guy shoots in 50 megabits per second, while on the G80 it's only 28. So my normal speed would drop from 4K to 1080, but my slow motion would stay at the same 1080 60p, but at a higher bitrate. There's just one problem. You see, 1080p is only roughly 2 megapixels. So when you have a sensor with 24 megapixels, you somehow have to take a 2 megapixel file out of those 24 megapixels. Well, this camera does something called line skipping. The effect of line skipping is horrible moray. If you're just looking at the specs for video, they seem okay. It's 1080p up to 60 FPS. It shoots in XAVC-S, 50 megabits per second. That's the same specs as the A7S. But specs are not everything. This does not compare to the A7S in terms of video quality. Well, and on top of that, the A7S is incredible in low light. After coming from my G80, which has amazing 4K quality, but the 1080p is still, in my opinion, very good, this did just not cut it. I thought I would lose some video quality on this guy compared to the G80, but the quality of the stills would be a lot better, and I could live with that. But the fact is that the drop in video quality is too much. If your main priority is video, I wouldn't recommend the A7II. There are much cheaper options that would shoot much better video than this guy. But for stills, it's amazing. But I cannot justify keeping this camera for stills only. So if your only concern is stills, this camera is great. But the only difference between this one and the A7 Mark I in terms of stills, as far as I'm concerned, it's only the IBIS, the in-body image stabilization. So if you're shooting with stabilized lenses or with high enough shutter speeds anyway, then you could just save some money and get the A7 Mark I instead. And on top of that, the battery life is quite terrible as well, so I had to pick battery grip up. It's hard to recommend this camera if video is your main priority. So to summarize, great for stills, not the same for video. Like the video if you liked it, subscribe if you want to see some more, and I'll see you next time. Damn.